Success looks loud. Awards, recognition, achievements, followers. That's what the world sees. When someone becomes successful, people notice the spotlight. They see the interviews, the applause, the celebration. And from the outside, it looks like success happens suddenly. But the truth is something very different. Success is built in silence, not on stage, not on social media, not in front of an audience, but in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. The real difference between successful people and everyone else is not talent, it's not luck, and it's not even opportunity. The real difference is what they choose to do when there is no audience. Think about it. When people are watching, almost anyone can perform. When there is pressure, deadlines, or expectations, most people can push themselves to work harder. But what happens when the pressure disappears? What happens when there is no teacher, no boss, no audience, and no reward? That moment reveals something powerful. It reveals who you really are. Because character is not built in public. Character is built in private. When we look at successful people, we usually see the highlight reel. We see the big wins. We see the moment they finally achieve their goals. But those moments are just the final chapter of a much longer story. What we don't see are the thousands of invisible moments that came before it. The early mornings when they wanted to stay in bed. The late nights when they felt exhausted. The days when they doubted themselves but kept going anyway. Those are the moments where success is actually created. The truth is, most successful people live by a simple rule. They hold themselves to a higher standard even when nobody is watching. If they promise themselves they will wake up early, they wake up early. If they promise themselves they will work on their goals, they show up and do the work. Not because someone is forcing them, not because someone is judging them, but because they respect their own word. And that kind of self-respect changes everything. Most people break promises to themselves all the time. They say they will start tomorrow. They say they will work harder next week. They say they will finally change someday. But successful people think differently. To them, a promise to themselves is just as important as a promise to someone else. And because of that, they build trust with themselves. Another thing successful people do when nobody is watching is something very simple. They practice a lot. Behind every confident speaker are hundreds of quiet practice sessions. Behind every successful athlete are thousands of unseen repetitions. Behind every successful entrepreneur are years of learning, failing, and trying again. But the public only sees the final performance. They don't see the preparation. And that's why success often looks like talent from the outside. But from the inside, it's usually just years of quiet effort. There is another habit that separates successful people from everyone else. They are willing to do boring things consistently. Most people chase excitement. They want motivation. They want quick results. They want success to feel exciting every day. But real success rarely feels exciting. Most of the time, it feels repetitive. Sometimes it feels slow. Sometimes it even feels frustrating. But successful people understand something important. Small actions repeated every day eventually create massive results. Reading a few pages every day might not seem powerful. Practicing a skill for 1 hour might not seem life-changing. Improving just 1% every day might not feel impressive. But over time, those small actions begin to compound. And slowly, they transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. Successful people also do something that many people avoid. They face their weaknesses. Most people try to hide what they are bad at. They avoid the things that make them uncomfortable. But successful people are willing to confront those areas. When nobody is watching, they study, they learn, they improve. They turn weaknesses into strengths. And that's why when opportunities finally appear, they seem prepared. From the outside, people call them lucky, but luck had very little to do with it. They were simply ready because they spent years preparing in private. Meanwhile, most people only perform when someone is watching. They work hard when there's a deadline. They act disciplined when someone is checking their progress. But when the pressure disappears, their effort disappears too. And slowly, those small decisions shape their future. Because success is not built in big public moments. It's built in the small private habits repeated every single day. Successful people understand a simple truth. How you do the small things is how you do everything. If you cut corners when nobody is watching, those habits will eventually show up in your results. But if you stay disciplined even in private moments, that discipline eventually builds a powerful life. Your future is not created in one big decision. It is created in thousands of tiny choices. Choices that seem unimportant at the time. Choosing to read instead of scrolling. Choosing to practice instead of procrastinating. Choosing to keep going instead of quitting. These small decisions might seem invisible today, but over time, they become the foundation of success. So the next time you are alone, the next time nobody is watching, remember something important. Those quiet moments matter more than you think, because the habits you build in private will eventually become the results everyone sees in public. One day, people might look at your success and think it happened overnight. They might call you talented, they might call you lucky, but you will know the truth. You will know that success was built slowly, in the moments when nobody was watching. Success is not an accident, it's a pattern. And that pattern begins in the quiet moments when you choose discipline over comfort. So ask yourself one question. When nobody is watching, what kind of person are you becoming? Because the answer to that question is quietly shaping your future every single day.